right, we are live. We are live. Okay, we're live. Welcome to day number 4 of the Crafty Notaries book club, where we are reading the how-to guide for notaries. And first off, let me say YOLO. let me get the comments up so that I can see that. And someone's already in here from Facebook, from my Facebook support group. If you're in here from Facebook, hop over to YouTube just so that I can see your name when you start commenting. That way, because unless you give Facebook permission, I can't see your name and I don't know who you are and I want to interact with you. So yeah, hop over to Facebook. Hush, Reggie. All right. So we're going to get started. Folks can come in, they can watch the replay, but we are going to get started. Look at this mess right here. You know, being on YouTube, it's everything. It makes you self-conscious of everything. Like my previous drinks for lunch today, my coffee and my soda, which I probably didn't finish because I do that a lot. But okay. There's no echo, correct? I'm sure you guys would have told me by now if there was an echo. I have the headphones connected to my camera today. And I got more soda. Let's get that out the camera. Okay. Okay, great. Not at all. All right. So we are on chapter 6 today. And we will work through chapter 6. And depending on how long this is, we'll get through chapter 7. So let's get started. And let's let me make this solo dolo. I can't remember how to do it. Oh, here it is. All right, here we go. So we're on chapter 6 and we're going to be talking all about the journal. And I want to just say, let me get back on here. I want to say before we get started that in the state of Florida, the use of a journal is not required. However, it is absolutely best practice to use a journal. You absolutely need to be using a journal. Why? So if it's not required, why do I need to use it? You need to use it for a couple of reasons. Number one, you should be keeping a record of every notarization that you are performing. That's number one. Number two, that record of notarization will save your behind should anyone go to court or any type of litigation. From what I hear, attorneys can be rough, especially if you have one of those attorneys that are getting paid. What did Perjo say? They're getting paid from the settlement, so they're going to find a way to settle. If they feel like the case is valid, they're going to try to find a way to settle, and they're going to eat you alive. So having a journal is absolutely 100% the best thing to do or have. Let me grab my my primer too, so that we have it available for the class. You know, it lives in my bag. So yes, having a journal is absolutely unequivocally necessary, although it is not required in the state of Florida. Okay. All right. So let's get into the Journal Acts. So chapter 6 starts out with saying a Journal of Notary Acts is a detailed chronological record of the Notary Public's official act. The key word here is 2 keywords: detailed and chronological. The notary's journal can provide valuable evidence in the event a notarized document is lost or altered, or if certain facts about the transaction are challenged later. The journal can protect the rights of individuals and help notaries defend themselves against false accusations of wrongdoing. So not having a journal will leave you just kind of out there, you know? So let me move my camera down a little bit and move my mouse pad out the way. There we go. All right. So yes, not having a journal will leave you out there. And the NNA recommendation says, while many states require notaries to keep a journal, some do not, like the state of Florida. Nevertheless, every notary should keep one, whether required by law or not. It is simply the prudent, common sense thing to do, and is a sound business practice. So if you're in the business of business, in the business of being a notary, you should have a journal. All right. To be most effective, the notary journal should have bound pages and not loose leaf, because loose leaf can fall out. And the pages should be numbered to deter unauthorized removal. So it's in chronological order for a reason, and the pages are numbered for a reason, so that in the event you're called to the carpet, you don't have a journal with missing pages. Okay. In addition, it is important that the acts are recorded chronologically, since this can point out later tampering with the dates of the notarization. So if you notarize the document on May the 3rd, and then somehow they come up with a document, the same document talking about you notarized it on June the 5th, well, you have a journal that says, I notarized this document. My journal entry is detailed, so it tells me what the document was, who the people were. You have their ID, you have everything. So I don't know where you're getting June 5th from, sir or ma'am. So that is one of the reasons why you need a journal. All right, let me move this over. Hold on, I got too many things. Hold on, I gotta move my the comments. I don't have things in the same place. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay. All righty, here we go. So this is how a typical journal looks. It will have the date of notarization here. You got the kind of notarization here. So it says a corporate acknowledgement. So this was some document, some corporate document that was an acknowledgement. You have the address where the notarization was performed. You have the document type. So it was a contract amendment, and you have the date of the document there. You also will have the name and address of the signer. Okay. And then this is the continuation of that same line. You're going to have the signature of the signer as well as their printed name and address. You're going to have any additional information. And I utilize this all the time. I just had a very difficult signing done yesterday, and I wrote so many comments about the signing, because I don't want any issues with coming back to me. So this one, they have signed as president of United Software. So you want to make sure you capture any of that type of information. And let me go back over here. This was the identification portion. I was reading it on screen and not, see if you can focus. I was reading it on the screen and not from the book. So this is the identity portion. And it says ID card, John Tyson. I don't know if that's the witness. That must be a witness or something. I'm not sure what that is. I think that's a witness. I don't know. It has ID card checked, but I'm thinking that, hold on, let me read the paperwork. Let me read this up here. Yeah, how each signer was identified. Oh, it's a credible witness. I think it's checked off ID card, but it has John Tyson. I don't understand what that is. I think that's a credible witness. And then they have the notary fee. They have the person's signature, which matches Richard Mason there. And then they have his thumbprint there. Okay. Now, again, thumbprints are also best practice, but they are also not required. All right. So journal entries. So we're going into journal entries. Some states specify in law what information a notary must record in the journal. However, by recording the following data as applicable, a notary will fulfill the requirements of any state. So at the bare minimum, you want these things. And there's more to this list on the other page. So you want the date and time of the act. You want the type of act. So whether that was a jurat or an acknowledgement or a copy certification or solemnization of marriage, whatever the act was. You want the address where the notarization was performed. You want the date of the document, if there is a document. You want the title or type of document. You want the printed name and address of each signer and witness. You want how each signer was identified. Did they produce a driver's license? Did they produce military ID? Did they produce a passport? How did you identify them? Any other pertinent information? Were they a president of a company? Were they only able to sign by mark? Did they have questions? Did you give them the oath? Were there witnesses? So any other pertinent information. The notary fee, if any, and that's always best practice to put that fee because they can always come back and challenge and say you charge them something else. So you can back it up by maybe your bank records and then your journal. And then you want the signature of each signer and witness. And then the thumbprint of the signer. And it mentions that in some states, the thumbprint is prohibited. It is not prohibited in Florida. You can absolutely get the thumbprint. So you should have that in your journal as well. All right. Each notarization requires its own journal entry. If a signer presents several documents for the notarization, the notary should record each document as a separate notarization with separate journal entries. Okay. So you should have each document that you're notarizing detailed on a different journal entry line. If signatures from multiple individuals are being notarized on a single document at one time, then each signer's information, identification, name, address, signature should be recorded on a separate line in the journal. In some states, ditto marks, which would be these marks. Hold on, let me get something right with. So ditto marks would be those marks. So ditto marks or signing along a diagonal line are acceptable techniques to avoid rewriting the same information. So you could let me show you over here. So you could either put ditto marks here, or you can just line through this way and then have them sign one time. Everyone. Multiple individuals on one document. So that's not for multiple documents. That's for multiple signatures from multiple people on one document. All right. Time and date of the notarization. So this would be the month, day, and year, and the time of day, the actual time that the signer appeared before the notary. Recording this information provides helpful evidence if there's a dispute later about whether the signer actually appeared. All right, all parts of the notarization, identifying the signer, making a journal entry, and completing a certificate must be performed on the same day at the same time and place. Okay. The type of notary acts. Here, the notary will indicate the act performed, the official act performed, whether it was an acknowledgement, jurat, copy certification, or other type of notarization. In addition, the type of acknowledgement, whether it was an attorney in fact, a corporate, a partnership, or anything else, should also be noted. All right. And then address where the notarization was performed. That should be the address where you and the signer met for the notarization. Okay. And then this documents that you were within your jurisdiction to perform that notarization. Okay. So they can't say you were out of the state or you were somewhere else. You were within your jurisdiction. All right. The date of the document. Some documents bear the date they were created. In such case, that is the date that you put in the journal. However, in most cases, the document is the date of the document signing. If there is more than one signer, it is the date of the final signing. If others will sign the document after the notarization at hand, the document date would be the date of the most recent signing. So this happens a lot in loan packages where they'll have a creation date, but typically the document date is the date that it was notarized. All right. The document's date of signing may proceed or coincide with the date of the notarization, but it should never follow it. So the date, let me read that again. The document date of signing may precede or coincide with the actual date of the notarization, but it should never follow it. So it should never be after. Because remember, for an acknowledgement, it can already be signed prior to it being notarized. They would just have to acknowledge that that is their signature. But the date that they dated with their signature cannot be after the day that you notarize it. All right. A document dated to follow the date risks rejection by a recorder who may question how the document could have been notarized before it was signed. An exception may occur when a document must be circulated to collect different signatures on notary certificates. In this case, the document date indicating the date of the final signing may follow the dates on all but the last certificate. So in this case, if there's more than one signer and they all have to be notarized, you're not going to complete the notarial certificate for that last signer until they actually sign. So the date on his notarial certificate will match the same date that he signed. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense to everyone, please. All right. No thumbs. I'm moving. Predating and post-dating documents and certificates are deceptive and illegal. It says often illegal. It is illegal in Florida. They misrepresent the actual date of signing or notarizing and are often done to take advantage of certain deadlines. Falsifying a notary certificate is a criminal act. And as a public official, a trusted public official, you must never be a knowing party to a deception, whether involving dates or any other matter. So you can't know. All right. Let me see something here. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. The type of document, the title and the type of document. The entry for the title and type of document should include a description of the document notarized, and that is either its exact title, as in affidavit of support, or its general type. So you can put grant deed, power of attorney, trust, amendment, whatever. If there is no document involved, as may be the case with administration of an oath, a description of the procedure or event should be recorded. So a notary might write oath of office for deputy commissioner, and that would also apply for weddings. So you can just say solemnization or solemnizing marriage for whatever, or marriage. Just put marriage, I guess. All right. I'm trying to get this camera to be a little bit straighter. There we go. All right. So the printed name and address of the signer. Recording the printed name of the signers is important because signatures can be difficult to read. The home and business address and even the phone number where the signer may be contacted is helpful in the event there's later questions about the notarization. And the address should also be entered for any subscribing witness, credible and identifying witness, or witness to a signing by Mark. And it says a witness's address goes in the address column. A credible identifying witness's address may be placed in the journal's identification column, and a signature by Mark witness's address in the additional information column. If space allows. Otherwise, additional journal entry lines may be used to accommodate such witness information. Maybe my computer is lagging because that thumb up came late, unless you just did it. All right. The identification. So the journal entry should indicate in detail which of the three methods the notary used to identify the signer. The notary would either use personal knowledge, credible identifying witness, plus the witness's signature, printed name and address, or the identification's title or type, issuing agency, serial number, and the date of issuance or expiration. Notaries in some states are prohibited from recording serial numbers and other pieces of information that states deems personal. It is important to check your state's handbook for specific rules regarding this. Let's see what our primer says about that. I do know that I learned, I should say, that let me let you see me for this one because I want to tell you something. I did learn that the actual serial number on a passport is similar to a Social Security number, because the number on your passport contains identifying information, and that number does not change or cannot change or does not change. Whereas your driver's license number can change depending on whether you change your name, depending on whether you change states. Your driver's license number can change. So I learned that it is probably not wise to put the entire Social Security number, put the entire passport number in your journal, maybe the last 4 or last 6 or something like that. I don't know how long the number is, but it is an identifier just as a Social Security number, and you definitely wouldn't like record someone's entire Social Security number on a document. Even when I complete the documents for the loan signings, it's not in that book. Even when I complete the documents for loan signings, like the Patriot Act form, I don't put their entire Social Security number. If they use a Social Security card as one of their pieces of ID, I don't put the entire number. I put the last 4. And so I do the same thing with the passport. And sometimes I do that same thing with the military ID, because they can always ask for a copy. So you want to be careful of that. All right, back to the book. All right. Okay, other pertinent data. So any other information that the state may require or that the notary may feel is important can be recorded. Such entries include, but is not limited to, observation of the signer's behavior, further description of the document, including number of pages, attachment of a loose certificate. So if you use the loose certificate, you most definitely should be writing that in the comments that you attach the loose certificate. Names of other signers, and any fraud deterrent measures taken by the notary, such as the use of an embosser. Also in this category, the notary should record the reason for refusing or failing to complete a notarization. So should you put all that information in and then actually don't do the notarization, you should record the reason why it was not completed. So You don't just cross it out. You definitely don't white it out. Don't use whiteout in your journal, period. That is begging for trouble. But I also wanted to go back up and touch on the signer's behavior. You do want to, if for example, if they're an elderly person, you may want to acknowledge whether or not they were alert, whether or not they were willing to complete the notarization. So that way it will, if anything happens, you have a record of what happened during your signing. All right. The notary fee is where the notary will indicate how much they charged. Some states require a record of notary fees to be maintained in a fee book. We do not have that in Florida. A fee entry in the notary journal is an accepted alternative and simplifies the notary's record keeping. All right. The signature of each signer. The signature of each document signer and oath taker comprises of one of the most important entries. A journal signature provides strong evidence that the signer indeed appeared before you. Like, that's fail-safe. This serves as a deterrent to signers with second thoughts. All right. Let's see. Second thoughts about a document. I guess I didn't keep going. Who might otherwise falsely claim to not have appeared before the notary. So having their signature and it matches their ID, and you should be looking for that to make sure it does match the journal, match the ID, because they're going to sign your journal before you notarize. So they sign your journal and then sign the document and it looks different. You ask them for the ID again so you can match it. Never be afraid to do any of that. Like, never be afraid to check and make sure that something is correct. The journal signature can also be a great obstacle to a forger who may have difficulty duplicating the document signature without taking an undue amount of time or arousing the notary's suspicion. So that's what I mean. They have to sign your journal first and then you notarize. And so you can compare all three signatures. In addition to the signature of the document signer, the signature and printed name should be entered for each credible identifying witness, subscribing witness, and witness to a signing by mark. A subscribing witness is a witness that is signing, stating that they saw this, that they witnessed the signing. Subscribing is another word for sign, so keep that in mind. Since the credible identifying witness identifies the signer, this individual's signature may be recorded in the identification area if space permits. Otherwise, an additional journal entry line may be used. The subscribing witness would sign in the signature column, and the witness to a signing by mark would write the marker's name next to the mark in the signature column and sign his or her own name in addition to the additional information column. So let me read that again. And the witness to a signing by mark would write the marker's name next to the mark in the signature column and then sign his or her own name in the additional information column. All right. All journal signatures must be made at the time of notarization, not before and not later. There can be no exceptions. The notary should compare the journal signature to the signature on the document and to the ID. I just said that. These must match to a certain degree. So Pat R. Jones instead of Patrick Ronald Jones, for example. So they should be signing relatively close on in all three places. Sometimes the document may have Patrick R. Jones, so they may sign just Patrick Jones. All right. A shortcut to relieve the signer of making multiple signatures in the journal when several documents are notarized at the same time may be allowed in some states. In such cases, the notary makes a separate entry for each notarization, but the signer signs along a diagonal line drawn across the signature spaces of all the entries on one page. However, this shortcut is not allowed with documents notarized on separate appearances before the notary. If the signer leaves and then returns a few minutes later with another document, this is a separate appearance requiring a separate signature and a separate journal entry. Sorry about that. Let me turn that off. Hold on. All right. All right. Notaries increasingly are, so we're on thumbprint. So notaries increasingly are asking signers to affix a thumbprint in the journal. This deters imposters who would not want to leave behind such absolute evidence in the attempted fraud, and provides proof that the signer actually appeared before the notary, should this fact be later challenged. A simple inking device is all that's required. The NNA carries them, so you can just order it from the NNA or you can order it on Amazon. The signer touches the device with the right thumb and then touches the journal to leave a print. The print is taken of the right thumb because law enforcement and other government agencies use this digit for fingerprint identification. So it should be the right thumb. If the signer is missing a right thumb, a left thumb or digit may be used, and the notary should know which digit made the print. That was crazy. I shouldn't laugh. All right. The type of notary journal best suited for recording thumbprints is one with a designated space for prints. If the journal does not have a thumbprint space, the print may be affixed in the additional information column or on a second entry line, providing that print is not obscured by pre-printed information or lines. As in this case, as is the case with signers providing signature, a notarization request cannot be refused if a signer does not want to comply with providing a thumbprint unless the journal thumbprint is required by law. And in Florida, it is not. In some states, thumbprints are prohibited, so check with your state. So they are allowed in the state of Florida, but they are not required. All right, let's see. And it mentions in here that the journal is filled out before you fill out the certificate. So it's before you fill out the certificate, before you put your signature, and before you put your seal. Your journal should be completed first. Other notary records, in addition to the journal, may be prudent for the notary to keep. These might include duplicates of certified copies and written remarks from a physician about a signer's ability to understand. Notaries should not, on the other hand, keep a copy of every document they notarize. And then disposition of notary records. The Journal of Notary Acts and related records should be kept in a secure place, preferably in a locked and fireproof drawer, file, or safe. Because if your house should burn down and you still running a notary business, you need that journal, okay? You need that journal. So you can buy fireproof drawers or files or safes at Walmart. And when you are home, you should keep that journal somewhere in there just in case something does happen and there is a fire and you cannot you ain't gonna be looking for your journal. You're gonna be getting out the house. Also, I will also add that there are fireproof money bags. I bought one. So for the times that I collect cash and I have the cash in my house, and even for our personal stash of cash, I have a fireproof bag that zips and Velcros. And so I can place in there any important documents like our passports, our birth certificates, anything that you don't want to burn up in a fire. They can all go in there along with any cash that you keep in the house. And that way, if your home burns down, you can go looking for that envelope and all your stuff will be there. All right. If your journal is lost, stolen, destroyed, or damaged, you should contact the Secretary of State in Florida. If not required by law, I would say the best practice would be to let them know right away. that takes all of the pressure off of you in the event something happens and that journal is gone. At least you reported it that it was gone so that it doesn't look funny on you. Let's see. If it's a criminal act, you should contact the authorities. What the heck? You should contact the authorities and have the authorities create a report so that you have some type of documentation stating that your thing was compromised. Hold on one second. I want to. Okay, they don't show up. I see a bunch of comments from 60. Never mind, I'm not even going to say it out loud. But anywho, it's not showing up on YouTube, so that's all I care about. All right. If a notary changes job, the journal and the seal go with the notary. So if your employer paid for the seal and the journal, they pay for your commission, that is your property. The commission is yours, whether they pay for it or not. You just tell them, thank you very much. I'll be on my way. And I'm taking my journal and my seal with me. Those are official tools of the notary office, and their possession or use by anyone but the notary may be a criminal act. So they go with you. All right. A couple more paragraphs. So when a notary commission is resigned or revoked, or when a commission expires without renewal, the notary may be required to turn in all records to a designated agency. Depending on state law, the records may have to be deposited with the county clerk, county recorder, probate judge, secretary of state, etc. And states often set criminal penalties for concealing, defacing, or destroying a journal, or failing to turn it in at an appropriate time. The penalties may apply either to notaries or, if they are deceased, to the administrators of their estates. So even if you pass away and someone has to cancel your commission, they need to know where your journal is so that they can turn it in. Sounds crazy, but it needs to happen. So those are things you have to put in place. All right. So is everybody ready for the test? How many people we got in here? About, I don't know. It says 9. Oh, there's those stupid messages. Hold on. Let me block these people. Okay. They're blocked now. Okay. They're blocked. All right. So are we ready for the test? Oh, I know I can block them from there. They're blocked. All right, I'm going. Did they come back? Hold on, one more. I saw another one pop up, but I think it's the same one. Okay. Number 1, a journal of notary acts should A, contain permanently bound pages. B, must be surrendered to an employer when quitting a job. C, may be filled in at the end of each week. Or D, can be in the form of papers distributed in office files. So let's see your answers. Do we have A, B, C, or D? Which one is it? Which one do you think is the answer? We got 1A so far. We got an A. Which one do you think would be the answer? A, B, C, or D? All right, we're going. I see more A's. There's a lag between my computer. All right, we got another A. We got all A's. So the answer is, that is correct. A would be the answer. All right. Number 2, requesting a person to sign the Journal of Notary Acts is A, unnecessary if the signer is the notary's employer. B, unnecessary if the signer is personally known to the witness, known to the notary. C, an invasion of privacy if not required by law. And D, strongly recommended even when not required by law. So which one would number 2 be? Requesting a person to sign the Journal of Notary Acts is which one? What do you think? We got a D. Hey, Rachel. You got a D there. Another D, another D. All right. I think that's the answer. Strongly recommended, even if it's not required by law. That is the answer. All right. When a notary resigns his or her commission, the journal, A, must be destroyed as soon as possible. B, must be surrendered to the designated public agency if required. C, must be safeguarded by the notary's employer in a fireproof file. Or D, must be surrendered to any available notary. A, B, C, or D on number 3. When a notary resigns, what happens to their journal? We got a B. A lot of B's. A lot of B's. The answer definitely is B. And let me check the primer to see if there's any guidance for that for the state of Florida. Let's see. Let me see what happens. So it definitely says if oh, that's for electronic. That's not what I'm asking about right now. Let's see. So it definitely says if you misplace your seal, you must notify the Department of State. What does it say about the journal? Oh, here it is right here. Okay. Never surrender journal. So let me put that under here. So right here, notaries should never surrender control of their journals to anyone. Oh, that wasn't what we were talking about. Nope, that wasn't what we were talking about. That's like if you leave your job, don't surrender. So, nope, I don't see. Doesn't have anything on what you should do with it. So that would be a situation where you definitely will need to contact the state to find out what they want you to do with your journal. I thought it would be in here, but I guess not. Like what happens if you are done? Like what happens if you're done? Oh, resignation. Let's see. So this says, so if you do a resignation, this says it's required. Resignation is required when the governor requires it, when a notary fails to maintain residency in the state, or when the notary no longer wishes to act as a notary. I did, but that was so the book we're reading is a general how-to guide for notaries. So we're also checking the Florida law because what is in the book is what would be accepted generally across the United States. So I'm looking specifically to find out what do we do with the journal in the state of Florida, if that makes sense. All right, so this says if a notary wishes to resign the commission, he or she must send a letter of resignation to the governor, which would be the Department of State, and include his or her original notary commission certificate. I don't know where the heck mine is. The notary should also include their mailing address because the governor will send them an acceptance letter acknowledging their resignation. Unless otherwise requested, the notary must also destroy his or her seal or embosser. So they don't even mention anything about the journal, and they probably don't mention anything about the journal. You want to know why? Because it's not required. So if you should resign, I would say I would definitely maybe state in the resignation letter that you did maintain a journal and you would like further instruction on how to handle that information, because they may tell you to destroy it. They may tell you to keep it. They may tell you to surrender it. Yeah. So that's definitely probably why it's not in the journal, because it's not required. I mean, it's not in the primer because it's not required. All right. Is your name Deborah? I'm going to post your comment so you can see who I'm talking about. Is your name Deborah? I just want to know so that I know what to say if I'm addressing you. So if you can let me know. But yes, so that's what we're doing. And the book that I'm reading from is this one, the Florida Primer. So if you're in the state of Florida, okay, great. So if you're in the state of Florida, you definitely want to go onto the NNA and purchase this book. I do believe they sell it for some of the other notary associations, but you definitely want to have one for the state of Florida. All right, number 4. The proper sequence for performing a notary act is A, journal entry, ID, certificate completion. B, ID, certificate completion, journal entry. C, ID, journal entry, certificate completion. Or D, certificate completion, journal entry, and identification. What is the proper sequence for performing a notary act? Ah, perfect. Yes. Thank God you have that. It saves your life. So you definitely want to look in there, like where I did. It was kind of in the front, under like resignation, to find out what you would do with your primer, because with your journal, because I'm not sure if it's required or not in Texas. All right, we got some C's, we got some D's, we got a B. Let's see. All right. The answer on this one is actually C. So remember that you have to complete your journal before you complete the certificate. The journal should be completed first. If for some reason you don't ever get to the certificate completion, you need to state that in the journal, that it never happened, that it was refused, or whatever have you. So it's ID, journal entry, certificate completion, in that order. It should always go in that order. Number 5, notaries are not recommended to keep A, copies of every document notarized, B, proof of their commissioning and bonding, C, duplicates of copies certified, D, written remarks from a physician about a signer's awareness. Which one are notaries not recommended to keep? This should be an easy one too. Which one are notaries not recommended to keep? Copies of every document, proof of your commission, document duplicates of copies certified, or written remarks from a physician about a signer's awareness. We got A's, A's, A's. The answer is definitely A on this one. You are not recommended to keep a copy of every document you've ever notarized. All right. Number 6, the document's signer's journal signature. So the document's signer's journal signature, A, should be obtained only when there is doubt about identity. B, need not be obtained if a credible witness signs. C, eliminates the need for credible witness or ID. Or D, should be obtained even with personal knowledge of identity. What would the answer for number 6 be? What would we be? What would number 6 be? Okay, you told me that already. Oh. D, we got one D. We got one D, three Ds. I think there was three Ds. I think I see an A. I'm not sure if those A's were for this question or the last question. But the answer to this one is D. Should be obtained even with personal knowledge of identity. You should always have a signature. Remember, the signature prevents fraud or can prevent fraud. All right. Number 7, notaries need not record in their journals A, the time of day of notarization, B, the fees charged for notarial services, C, the document signer's address, or D, the document signer's physical description. And by physical description means height, weight, eye color, hair color, that type of thing. So what does not go in the journal of those 4? Yep, we got some D's coming up. We got some D's. Yep, D, another D. Another D. This, everybody should get this one. This absolutely D. Why would you record someone's physical description? All right, number 8. When a notarization is performed, a journal entry is completed. A, at the same time with the document signer there. B, anytime later if the signer is there. C, anytime the same day with or without the signer there. Or D, at the same time with or without the document signer there. When do we complete the notarization, the journal entry? And I believe I know the answer, but let me check it just to be sure. And of course, I was going to say, is it on the right page? Hold on. What number is this? 8. What number? Okay. All right. I just had to make sure they didn't throw a curveball at us. We got 1A. I think we got 1A. I don't know if those D's were for the last one or for this one. So I'm just going to say we got 1A. We got another A, more A's. All right, more A's. The answer definitely is A. Should be at the same time with the signer there. All right, number 9. The following document signing date and notarization recorded in the journal are unacceptable. You got A, document date May 10, notarization date May 10. B, document date May 10, notarization date May 11. C, document date May 11, notarization date May 10. And D, document date April 10, notarization date May 10. Which date would be unacceptable in the journal? Which date would be unacceptable in the journal? Anyone? We got 1 C. We got a C, another C. I think C's are coming up. Yep, C's are coming up. The answer definitely is C, because your notarization date cannot be before the actual date of the document. So the document date can be assumed the date that they actually signed. So if they sign on May 11th and you notarized on May 10th, what are we doing here? So that definitely, the answer definitely is C. All right, number 10, a person who presents 5 documents for notarization at different times, A, may sign the journal once if ditto marks are used 4 times. B, need not sign if he or she signed before a notarization. C, need not sign if he or she left the sample signature in the front. Or D, must sign the journal at each of the 5 appearances. So a person who has 5 documents that you're notarizing, but at different times, which answer would be correct as it relates to that? You got 1D. You got a D. Another D. Anyone else? I'll answer your question in 1 second, Deborah, as soon as we finish this question. So, yes, the answer is D. If he has 5 documents for notarization and you're signing them at 5 different times, then you need to make 5 journal entries. All right. All right. So that is the end of chapter 6. If you have the book, you should go ahead and fill in the practice journal if you haven't done any signings yet, or if you haven't had any notarizations yet. Go ahead and fill it in. And if you want to do that, take a snapshot, take a picture, and DM it to me on Facebook, and I'll let you know how you did. But the answers are in the back. So next Wednesday, we'll pick up on chapter 7, and we're going to be talking about the notary certificate and the seal. So we will be back. And to answer Deborah's question, this is the name of the book. Excuse the ring light. Let me get it out the way if I can. So it's the Complete How-To Guide for Notaries is the name of the book. And the book can be found on the NNA's website. If you are a member of the NNA, you can also access this book electronically by going to the member benefits, and you don't have to pay for the book. Otherwise, you can pay for the book. I would strongly suggest having the primer or primer, however you want to say it, and having a copy of this book because it has so much information. It's like the Bible. So this book gives you general information for notaries, and then the primer gives you the specific information for your state. Okay. So you're welcome. We are to the live Q&A portion of the show. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. This is your time to pick my brain or ask questions. And we can definitely talk about it now. So let me know. Let's see. Deborah says, super helpful for me. No training is required in Texas. Oh, yeah, definitely come back and with us. I'm going to be going through the entire book. I'd like to try to do 2 chapters per session, but it just depends because some chapters are longer than others. So we'll just take it at the pace that we take it, and we'll keep going until we can't go anymore or until we finish the book. So yeah, there's like 24 chapters in the book, and we're on number 7. So we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. So let's see. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you were able to join. So we are here every Wednesday at 7:30 on the Crafty Notary YouTube channel. I also wanted to mention that I am doing my loan signing class. So it is a mock loan signing class from A to Z. So if you are a subscriber of my channel, which you should be, if you're not, hit that subscribe button. I had posted the part 1 to that class. So I'm going to beef that up and I'm going to add the documents review again, and I'm going to run that class again live. I had so many requests for going over the documents, for sharing the documents. I was this close to posting it on YouTube, and I just don't feel comfortable sharing a document package on YouTube in a public forum. This dog. My dog is right here and she passed gas. Okay. So the mock loan signing class from A to Z will be on September the 18th at 7 p.m. It is a Sunday, so I'm sacrificing some of my football Sunday, my NFL Sunday, to teach this course. It will be at 7 p.m. The ticket price for the class is $45. And you can go to my website to sign up for the class. I'm going to type it here so that you can see it. It's, come on, show it. There we go. It is Ayana Lugo. What the heck did I do there? That is not the website. Hold on. It is ayanalugo.com. There we go. ayanalugo.com. If you click on the services, I believe it is in there. So the ticket is $45. It will be held via Zoom. If you do purchase, make sure you check your spam email, check all over the place, your junk, your spam, and make sure that you got the actual email receipt. So the actual email receipt that comes from my website, GoDaddy, will have the link to the Zoom session on the receipt. So make sure you have that. Let's see. Have you done a general notary work class? No, I have not done a general notary work class. That is what this is. So a general notary work class, doing that would probably take a few weeks, and it would be like a few times per week. I don't kind of have that kind of time right now. So that's why I'm giving this offering live on YouTube with this book. So today, what we're doing today is a general notary class. So you're more than welcome to follow along. You're more than welcome to reach out to me on Facebook and add me as a friend. It is Ayana Lugo. Ayana Naila Lugo. So Nailah is my middle name. So Ayana Naila Lugo. Or just go to my page, The Crafty Notary, on Facebook, and you can message me from there if you have any questions that you need answer. I also do coaching, either 30 minutes or an hour. I typically don't do it outside of Florida, but I'm more than happy to help and assist with anyone who needs help. So I appreciate that. And this class that we're doing is absolutely for all states. Like I stated before, I just go back and check the Florida primer to make sure that we're covering Florida. So you do the same for Texas. What else? Any other questions tonight? Any other questions? Oh, you couldn't access the registration for the mock class. When did you try? When did you try? Let me try. Let me try it. Let me go to the site and see if it's there. So it's going to be under coaching. Oh, it's not there yet. Oh, wait. It's under classes. So if you go to my website, ayanalugo.com, hit the coaching tab, it is under the classes section. And let's see. And you should be able to book there. Let me do it, Rachel. So definitely try it again. Oh, it didn't. Maybe it was that link. So I would say just go to my website, theayanalugo.com coaching section, and I'll repost another post so that it's more clear on where to go. Go to coaching, go to classes. There's two. There's one is appointments, one is classes. I didn't even know GoDaddy did that. And then go ahead and book the class. The class is going to be about 2 hours long. It could be a little bit longer, but it's definitely going to be at least 2 hours because I'm going to do live Q&A at the end of the class too. So, yeah. All right. Have a good night. Thank you so much for coming. Oh yeah, get your nap on. Thank you guys so much for coming and stopping by. I hope to see you guys next week. And in the meantime, between time, take care of your business. And I hope that everything goes great for you in this next week. So take care. I'll see ya.